The truth occurs.
Hi everyone, I just wanted to give you an update on a couple of things. For one, the end result of the Christopher Dorner manhunt. And second, the possible real reason for why Pope Benedict resigned. So first of all, about Dorner. Well, Christopher Dorner ended up dying in a cabin that was on fire. He was burned to death in a cabin in Big Bear, California. And police say that this cabin fire was not intentional. As it says here, Sheriff's Office confirms pyrotechnic tear gas canisters were launched into cabin, but, quote, we didn't intend to burn it down. Pyrotechnic tear gas canisters are, of course, fire-starting tear gas canisters. So let me get this straight. They threw fire-starting tear gas canisters into a wooden cabin, but they say that they didn't intend to burn it down. I mean, do you believe that? I don't believe that. And then on top of that, there's evidence to show that they in fact did intend to burn it down. There's this video of news coverage where you can actually hear the cops saying that to burn it down. I heard things like, burn that effing house down, burn it down, and burn that mother effer down. So I don't know about not intending to burn it down. Sounds to me like they did intend to burn it down. So in the end, if this is true that the police burned this cabin down intentionally, that would mean that they kind of acted as an execution squad to kill Dorner. And doesn't that just prove Dorner right about everything that he was saying? And also on the subject of Christopher Dorner, a lot of people kind of have been treating him like he's a hero, or, well, was a hero. I'd have to say that even though I would agree that there's a lot of corruption in the police and a lot of brutality, there's a lot of problems in the police department, but still, I don't think that it's right to kill innocent people as a vendetta against the police as an organization. Although I don't know if he really did commit these crimes, but assuming he did, I would say that would not make him a hero. Although he would be a hero for whistleblowing and trying to whistleblow, but to kill, you know, Monica Kwan and these other people, I don't think killing people ever makes you a hero. And the other thing I wanted to bring up was the resignation of the Pope and why he may have really resigned. I mean, the official version was that he resigned because he was old and he was in frail health. But there could very well have been a lot more to it. And I'd like you to go and check out itccs.org. That's the International Tribunal into Crimes of Church and State. The acting secretary for Canada of this is Kevin Annett, who was a former minister with the United Church of Canada. He discovered all this abuse, genocide basically, that was going on in the Canadian Indian residential school system. And then when he tried to come out and expose this, he was targeted. He was defrocked and basically just ruined. And he's been fighting for justice ever since. There were a lot of children that went in these residential schools that died. Their bodies were never even returned to their parents. And there was a lot of abuse that went on there. And his website is hiddenfromhistory.org. So he and some others have convened the International Tribunal into Crimes of Church and State, basically because the church and the Crown of England are like distinct societies, and the laws that are applied to the rest of us will not be applied to them. They're like immune from justice. So if they commit genocide or do these kind of things, there's never any justice, as you know. They'll say, oh, well, sorry about all the pedophilia, but nobody ever goes to jail for it. So what they did was they convened basically a de jure court to try to hold them responsible according to common law. And here's an article that he wrote recently. Pope Benedict resigned to avoid arrest, seizure of church wealth by Easter. So it says here, the historically unprecedented resignation of Joseph Ratzinger as Pope this week was compelled by an upcoming action by a European government to issue an arrest warrant against Ratzinger and a public lien against Vatican property and assets by Easter. The ITCCS central office in Brussels is compelled by Pope Benedict's sudden abdication to disclose the following details. So here's what the ITCCS did. On February 1st, they made an agreement with representatives of a certain European nation and its court to secure an arrest warrant against Joseph Ratzinger. This arrest warrant was to be delivered on February 15th, and a diplomatic note was issued by that nation to Cardinal Bertone, informing him of the pending arrest warrant and inviting his office to comply. They didn't get any answer from Bertone, but 6 days later the Pope resigned. And on top of that, they had an agreement between the ITCCS and that said nation to issue a commercial lien through that nation's courts against the property and wealth of the Roman Catholic Church, commencing on Easter Sunday, March 31st, 2013. And this was to be accompanied by an Easter reclamation campaign whereby Catholic Church property was to be occupied and claimed by citizens as public assets forfeited under international law and the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court. And they still plan to have that said nation's government proceed with the arrest of Joseph Ratzinger upon his vacating the office of pontiff. So he's still going to be charged with crimes against humanity and criminal conspiracy, even though he has resigned from the papacy. And finally, they say it's their further decision to proceed as well with the indictment and arrest of Joseph Ratzinger's successor as Pope on the same charges, and to enforce the commercial lien and Easter reclamation campaign against the Roman Catholic Church as planned. So even though Joseph Ratzinger has resigned, the ITCCS still plans to go through with these arrests and the commercial lien. I've interviewed Kevin Annett, and when I did, there was some haters came out, you know, and said, this is, you know, it's nonsense, and Kevin Annett is wrong, and or like he's some kind of terrorist. And I mean, I could see there was a lot of hate against him, which kind of made me wonder, maybe he's really onto something. And it looks like, you know, this de jure court, this tribunal, may actually have some weight to it, that it's not just some thing they're going to hold this court and nobody's going to pay any attention to their decision. It looks like they actually got, one country was willing to get on board and enforce this. So, you know, the prophecies of St. Malachi that say that the last pope, Petrus Romanus, Peter the Roman, would be the last pope, and then it would be the end. The end of what? The church? Maybe it's going to really be the end of the Catholic Church. Maybe Kevin Annett and the ITCCS.org is really going to bring down the Catholic Church. I don't know. Well, we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, thanks you guys for all the links that you send me. I really appreciate it. And please leave me your comments about all this. And thanks for listening to me. And I'll see you next time.